We are still under ethical and legal issues. I will discuss about Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or Hipaa. It describes how personal health information may be used and how the client can obtain access to the information. PHI includes individually identifiable information that relates to the client's past, present, or future health, treatment, and payment for healthcare services. The Act requires healthcare agencies to keep PHI private, provides information to the client about the legal responsibilities regarding privacy, and explains the client's rights with respect to PHI. The client has various rights as a consumer of healthcare under Hipaa, and any client request may need to be placed in writing. A fee may be attached to certain client requests. The client may file a complaint if the client believes that privacy rights have been violated. Client's rights regarding PHI. Number 1, inspect a copy of PHI. Number 2, ask the healthcare agency to amend the PHI that is contained in a record if the PHI is inaccurate. Number 3, request a list of disclosures made regarding the PHI as specified by Hipaa. 4, request to restrict how the healthcare agency uses or discloses PHI regarding treatment, payment, or healthcare services, unless information is needed to provide emergency treatment. Number 5, request that the healthcare agency communicate with the client in a certain way or at a certain location. The request must specify how or where the client wishes to be contacted. Number 6, request a paper copy of the Hipaa notice. Healthcare agency use and disclosure of PHI. Number 1, healthcare payment purposes. Number 2, healthcare operation purposes. Number 3, treatment purposes. Number 4, providing information about healthcare services. Number 5, data aggregation purposes to make healthcare benefit decisions. Number 6, administering healthcare benefits. Additional use or disclosures of PHI. Compliance with legal proceedings or for limited law enforcement purposes. To a family member or significant other in a medical emergency. To a personal representative appointed by the client or designated by law. For research purposes in limited circumstances. To a coroner, medical examiner, or funeral director about a deceased person. To an organ procurement organization in limited circumstances. To avert a serious threat to the client's health or safety or the health or safety of others. To a government agency authorized to oversee the healthcare system or government programs. To the Department of Health and Human Services for the investigation of compliance with the Hipaa or to fulfill another lawful request. To federal officials for lawful intelligence or national security purposes. To protect health authorities for public health purposes. To appropriate military authorities if a client is a member of the armed forces. In accordance with a valid authorization signed by the client. Confidentiality or information security. In the healthcare system, confidentiality or information security refers to the protection of privacy of the client's PHI. Clients have a right to privacy in the healthcare system. A special relationship exists between the client and nurse, in which information discussed is not shared with a third party who is not directly involved in the client's care. Violations of privacy occur in various ways. Here are the examples. 1. Taking photographs of the client. Release of medical information to an unauthorized person, such as a member of the press, family, friend, or neighbor of the client without the client's permission. Number 3, use of the client's name or picture for the healthcare agency's sole advantage. Number 4, intrusion by the healthcare agency regarding the client's affairs. Number 5, publication of information about the client or photographs of the client, including on a social networking site. Number 6, publication of embarrassing facts. Number 7, public disclosure of private information. Number 8, leaving the curtains or room door open while a treatment or procedure is being performed. Number 9, allowing individuals to observe a treatment or procedure without the client's consent. Number 10, leaving a confused or agitated client sitting in the nursing unit hallway. Number 11, interviewing a client in a room with only a curtain between clients or where conversation can be overheard. Number 12, accessing medical records when unauthorized to do so. Nurses are bound to protect client confidentiality by most nurse practice acts, by ethical principles and standards, and by institutional and agency policies and procedures. Disclosure of confidential information exposes the nurse to liability for invasion of the client's privacy. The nurse needs to protect the client from indiscriminate disclosure of healthcare information that may cause harm. Maintenance of confidentiality. Not discussing client issues with other clients or staff uninvolved in the client's care. Not sharing healthcare information with others without the client's consent. That includes family members or friends of the client and social networking sites. Keeping all information about the client private and not revealing it to someone not directly involved in care. Discussing client information only in private and secluded areas. Protecting the medical record from all unauthorized readers.